welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Arati Shenoy and I'm a kindergarten teacher from Mumbai, India. Today's video is all about interview questions and answers. So it's that time of the year where teachers are probably looking for jobs or looking to switch schools, or student teachers looking for their very first job. So here I am with a few sample interview questions and how I answered them during my interview. Now I had 4 rounds, like 3 rounds and 1 demo, so a lot of questions came my way. So I made sure to jot it all down so that I do not miss out on a single question, because that could be the next question the interviewer is planning to ask you. Now most of these questions are probably similar to what they would ask you in most schools. However, there could be a few questions over and above depending on your experience and what you've mentioned in your resume. If you do find this video useful, please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up, because it gives me an idea whether this is the kind of video you'd like to watch. And also don't forget to ring the notification bell to watch all my future videos. So without further ado, let's begin. First question is the most obvious question. Tell me a little about yourself. Now, it may sound like a very simple question to you, but let me tell you, you will be a little thrown off if you're not prepared for the same. So tip number 1 is make sure that you write a few sentences about yourself so you know exactly what to say in front of the interviewer. Tip number 2 is mention your full name. And that's my opinion. I feel that even if it's mentioned on the resume, if the resume is in front of the interviewer, it still makes a very good impression when you state your full name. Stick to professional details only, no personal details. Honestly, the interviewer is not interested to know how many dogs you have, or a cat or a turtle, and how you spend time with them. What they want to know is, do you have the skills? Do you have the experience? What can you bring to the organization? Are you the right fit for the role that you've applied for? So talk about your professional background. Which university are you've graduated from? In terms of your career, when and where did you begin? Where are you at the moment? And you can end by stating a few of your hobbies. The way I stated in my interview, my name is Arati Shenoy and I'm a graduate from Mumbai University. I have this many years of experience. I started my career teaching preschool students and moved up to teaching kindergarten. I have been teaching kindergarten since the past 6 years. These are my hobbies. I have been associated with these schools in the past. I hope it gave you a picture. Keep it very short and brief, not more than 5 to 7 sentences, because honestly you wouldn't want to spend too much of time on this question and you definitely want to move on to the next one. Trust me, the interviewer has a list of questions in front of him or her and they would definitely want to move on to question number 2. What is your teaching philosophy? This is a very common question again. All the interviews I have attended so far, this question has come my way. So teaching philosophy is all about your beliefs about teaching and learning. Whatever you talk about is basically a reflection of yourself, a self-reflection. So make sure that you give concrete examples, like very strong examples, stating how you're going to go about achieving them and how would you want your learners to go about achieving them. Again, what you could do is jot it down, rehearse it in front of the mirror a few times. Trust me, I do that because honestly it helps me to organize my thoughts. It helps to articulate your thoughts and I'm not rambling in front of the interviewer. The next question is, why do you want to be a teacher? Now this is a personal question. Of course, I leave it to you. You could talk about what made you want to be a teacher. For example, if you have a mother who's a teacher and you have grown up seeing her, or if you have younger siblings and you have been teaching them for so many years, that sort of inclined you towards the teaching profession, etc. How would you use assessment to drive instruction? So here I spoke about the pre-assessments, the summative assessments, the formative assessments. How the pre-assessments helped me to assess the prior knowledge of a student, helped me to understand where the student is at, like his level, and to what level could I take him up to next. It also helps me to understand what are the gaps of knowledge, like which are the concepts that I would need to reiterate or touch upon, which are the students which need intervention or probably an extension. I also spoke about exit tickets. So that's something that I do in my class on a daily basis, where students sort of leave a reflection before they exit the classroom. How do you differentiate instruction for children with special needs? You can talk about the skills. I spoke about individualized instruction, which helps to encourage critical thinking and active learning. I also spoke about how you can get in touch with the student support team and apply their strategies shared by them. I would also bring the child's personal interest into the classroom, because that makes the child feel safe and invested in what he or she is learning. Could you name a few classroom management strategies that you have applied in your class? So here it's all about building positive relationship with your students. I spoke about the things that went well in the past 1 year on the virtual platform. So callouts is one of them. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. 4, 5, 6, eyes are fixed. Hocus, focus, everybody focus. The callouts did wonders in my class this year. Yes, etiquette is, I think, very important. So I make sure to set expectations with my students right in the beginning of the year, and I make sure that the students are held to those expectations right until the end, because honestly it helps to maintain discipline and good habits in the classroom. So that's another thing. Apart from that, I had these secret codes that I shared with each of my learners. So there is a platform full of parents and students. When I had to pass on a message, I would do something like this, or something like this, or something like this, and that student knew that the message is for him or her. So it was less embarrassing for the student, I think, and my students loved it, and they also felt very great, like the teacher is sharing something very personal with him or her. So that was another strategy that I used. Apart from that, of course, if I was in person, like in the school, I would have a few extra engagements. So once the learner is done with a particular task, he or she can then move on to those engagements. So they are always having fun, and they're always occupied and engaged in whatever they're doing. Class dojo points and behavioral chart, again, is something that I love having in my class every year, because it's always worked with my students, and my students love it because my learners learn how to collaborate with each other, they know how to work as a team, etc. To the next question, what would your classroom look like when someone enters? You would definitely see my students collaborating with each other. You would see them having deep discussions. You would definitely see the objective is put up on the board. So I always like to make my students aware of the objective, even though they are kindergarten students, but my students are always made aware of what the objective of the lesson is. And you will also see the learner profiles are put up. How do you handle behavior issues in class? Now this is, I think, depends on the teacher. I think every teacher handles it differently. I believe in talking it to the student, having a one-on-one conversation with the learner, trying to understand what he did, why he did, and trying to see if there's something that we can do and we can resolve it there and then. I also try and get in touch with the parent if there is something that we can collaboratively do together to support the student. I honestly don't believe in going up to the hierarchy or to the principal right away if that's something that can be resolved in the classroom itself. What are your strengths? Now this may sound like, again, like a simple question, but let me tell you that it's also a very important question. A tip that I would like to state is, if you are talking about your strengths, for example, I have patience, resilience, I'm very good with students, make sure that you support that with very strong examples. How would you give parents a difficult feedback about your child? I remember a long time ago I had heard of something called a compliment sandwich, which had 3 layers. So the first layer is where you discuss the strengths of the child with the parent, where you talk about what the child has achieved in the week or on that day. Step 2, that is the layer 2, is where you talk about the areas of concern and try and see how you can collaboratively work with the student and the parent to support the child. And then layer 3 is you come back to the positive anecdotes, where you talk about the child's behavior and performance. What technology you have used before? So this is again a personal question, and I'll leave it to you to answer. Where do you see yourself in 5 years, and what are your plans for your professional development, is again a very personal question. However, when it comes to professional development, I'm somebody who attends a lot of free PDs online. There are beautiful PDs which are conducted by British Council. I'll definitely put the link in the description box below. So if that's something interests you, you can definitely check that out. Why do you think you are the best fit for our institute? You have worked for different boards. Which among them you like the best? If you are not from India, let me tell you, we have so many schools here and they are affiliated with different boards. Like you have the IB, you have IGCSE, ICSE, SSC, CBSE, etc. So this question, I believe, was asked to me during the first or the second interview. So my honest answer was that honestly it does not matter, because I'm somebody who's fascinated with the teaching profession. I love everything about teaching, whether it's the planning or assessing, or whether it is the instruction block, or whether it's storytelling, if it's podcasts, report cards, everything basically. So honestly, if the opportunity given to me is excellent, if it adds to my resume in a positive manner, I will go ahead and accept the offer. What board the school is affiliated with honestly wouldn't matter to me then. Why do you want to be a part of our institution? So here I definitely recommend that you research a little bit about the school or the institute that you're planning to get associated with. Very important to find out something about the school, something that the school is good at. Maybe they have a band or a football club or something that they're famous for. And I definitely spoke about the things that I had heard about the school over the years. I also spoke about the opportunities that the school gives its teachers and the benefits that they have to offer. I also made connections to myself. How is it benefiting me in terms of commuting or remuneration, work environment or culture, etc. What was your reason to leave the current organization? And what do you like to do in your spare time? So you could talk about your hobbies and interests and things that you love doing in your spare time. Last but not the least is, how was your experience working with other colleagues? So here I definitely spoke about the collaborations with my other colleagues during our team meetings, our whole school meetings, grade meetings, and how we all exchange ideas, and how we all motivate each other, and how we share ideas, and how important it is for us to come to a mutual consensus. So that's all, guys, and I'm sure over and above, of course, as I mentioned earlier, there may be a few personal other questions pertaining to your resume and the experience that you come with. I really hope that you found this video useful, and do leave in the comments if you do come across any other questions. I would love to hear from you. It could definitely help the other teachers in the future, and I wish you all the best. I really hope that you get through, and do share your experiences with me if you have got through any school.